Today, first we will see some things related to Postman because that is again important. Okay.
Okay.
So, what is exactly Postman? So, if you remember from our previous discussion, so like when we are creating a API to publish it so that another tool can consume it, right?
Yes.
So in that case, we are going to call it inbound or provider. So let's say we are creating the API, like we are in mid of creating the API, all those things. Now I just want to test my API, whether it's going to work or not, all those things. So one way is I share the API with third-party tool and ask them to send, and then they will share the error which they are getting and all those things. But sometimes you will find, but again, not sometimes, most of the time, it's good to test your API thoroughly and then only share with the third-party tool when it's in working condition. But in that case, you need a kind of third-party tool which can hit your API while you are designing.
Mhm.
So all those purposes, we also use this Postman.
So what is this? Is it an application?
Yeah, it's an application kind of. You will get it if you will put post uh, on the Chrome, then you will get it. You can download it and install it.
Okay.
So it's a kind of quite famous tool for API testing.
Okay.
Okay, so just give me a moment.
So it means we can do the testing at Postman rather than third party tool, right? First and
Yeah, first for the first time, like when you are developing your API, like you may take 10 days, so you cannot every time go to the third party tool to trigger this use case, because when you are
yeah.
writing, so you can use this one. So it is kind of going to act as a third party tool for you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how we set up. So if you remember, we were discussing about in case of REST, we will have a endpoint. Okay.
Yes.
Then we need authentication detail. Okay.
Yes.
So in when you will open this Postman, you can create a new kind of your setup for triggering your API. So then in the REST, we got kind of get, post, put, all those methods, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, we had the get
Yes.
method with two
For create, for read.
for read, yes. So if we want to
Yes.
share a API which should allow third-party tool to which you are integrating so that they can get the record from a specific table of your service now, then you share the get method and endpoint. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say you want them to create some records, then you use post method. If they want to update some record in ServiceNow, then put method and patch method, both are for update, and then delete if they want to, like they are allowed to delete some records, then they will be using delete method. So you will select the correct method and then the endpoint. So let me share this instance. We are going to give me a moment. It's 518, so it's breaking up. So our today's use case would be, we will be seeing a kind of direct REST web services. If you remember, we studied about direct, then import set web services and
Yes.
REST. So today we will cover the direct web services using REST. Okay.
Okay.
The use case would be a kind of, we want incident integration from a third-party tool. A third-party tool can be another instance of ServiceNow. It could be Remedy. It could be any other XYZ tool which will trigger an incident into the ServiceNow. Okay.
In our instance, right?
Yeah, in our instance. Now, what we will today, we are going to see how we can utilize direct web services for this use case. Okay.
Okay.
So let me share the instance. When we talk about direct web services, then that means we need not to code anything. It's from ServiceNow side. Okay. For the integration, if we decide like, okay, we are going to use direct web services for being as an inbound or provider. So direct web services are something which are by default available to you. Okay, so you can go to your REST API Explorer. You can see the screen, right? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sorry, I was speaking on mute.
Okay, so you can see the screen, right?
Yes, yes.
So direct web services, when we talk about, there is no coding required from ServiceNow side if you are acting as an inbound. So right now we are only talking about when you are ServiceNow is acting as an inbound. So in case of inbound, as you are aware, we need to share the API detail. We need to publish the API, and publishing means you need to share an endpoint and authentication details. Now,
Yes.
as we decided to use the direct API or direct web services, so direct means table API. The table API, all the logics, all the codes are already written by ServiceNow. It's kind of readily available for you to use it. So we navigated to REST API Explorer, and as we are talking about creating a new incident, so that means post. Now, in which table are incident are there in ServiceNow? It's an incident table, right?
Yes.
So what we will do, right? What's wrong with this? Let's see. So here we can select our table. Now, in case of direct web services, that means the ticket or record is directly going to insert into your target table. Basically, you are giving access of your target table to the third party too. Okay.
Yes.
Now here, basically what content type they are able to send or what content basically we want. So if they like the third party tool is not capable of sending the JSON. So they say like I can only send the kind of XML. So you can select the XML content type here, and then you can use this query builder. So like what information you would like. I will say I need caller as able tutor. Able tutor, and then this able tutor is just fixed value right now, but when real-time incidents will be coming, that tool will be sending the actual caller. What would be kind of the caller for the issue which is created in that tool. Okay.
Okay.
For here, we are just putting the test value so that we can test our API and share with them. Now let's say I want category as software.
So these all are just a test thing, right? But real incidents will be created, right? From
Yeah.
that tool.
These are basically we are trying to kind of test it. We are trying to test our API with some fixed value, but when will be real time incident will be creating, these value will be dynamic. So when that third party tool is going to kind of configure this outbound, because they need to consume and they need to configure the outbound, at that time they will pass these value dynamically.
Okay.
When we will cover ServiceNow outbound, I will show from ServiceNow how you pass value dynamically. Okay. Right now we are covering inbound from ServiceNow side. Basically, we are publishing our API. Yeah. So now I
Yes.
want assignment group, maybe assignment group. Let's say service desk. Or maybe you want short description. So again, this is what this will depend what fields mapping has been kind of finalized between two teams. So what basically that tool is going to send, that should come in your kind of request body.
Okay.
And then I would say description. Now once your body is there, you can click on send. And this is how it is going to be. Now, as you selected JSON, so that means the response they are going to get is in the JSON. Okay. But usually in case of REST, we use kind of this JSON format only. And also if they are like they want like they will send the response like request as well in the JSON. Then at that time, like both request and response, if they want to receive and send in format of like XML, then you can select XML here. And
no, but it should be same, right? Request and response type.
It doesn't like, it's not a hard and fast rule. It all depends. Okay. Maybe they want, they kind of, they are capable of only sending request in format of like this XML, but they are not bothering about the response. So if you are sending response in JSON or something, it again depend on the capability of both of the tools. Okay, like they are not capable of sending the kind of JSON to ServiceNow. So what we as a ServiceNow, when we are going to publish the API, we can accept the SOAP as well. Sorry, not SOAP. XML as well in REST API. But in REST API, most of the time you will be seeing JSON is getting used. But
so in request and response format, JSON will be
mostly you will be seeing JSON.
Okay.
Sometimes you will see like third-party tool will say like, no, I can send the XML only, or maybe they are kind of saying like, no, we are going to use REST, but we will be sending XML only. You need to accept the XML only. So in this
something
case,
they need to tell us that thing.
Yeah, but if they say no, we can accept everything, maybe you can choose JSON or. So basically, what I am trying to say, ServiceNow Table API supports both. So ServiceNow Table API can accept the JSON format as well and send the response in JSON format to the third-party tool. Then similarly, ServiceNow Table API can accept the content in XML format as well and send the response also in the XML format. Third thing, you have like text format. So that is also some tool you will see rarely using this, but some tools there are which are using this. They are not. So then let's say here you got the XML, which basically you want them to send. Okay, now let's say being a third party tool, when you are going to share this, how you can test your API from Postman. Okay, how we can make use of Postman. So now as we are going to, here you will get this endpoint and the method is post. So copy this. This is what you may need to put it in an email or in a document. Like you will have to prepare something like that. Let me share it with you.
So this information need to be shared to the third party vendor.
Yes. So if I select,
so all this information will get it under REST API Explorer.
Yeah. So you can say, and let me type, I will then share with you.
Yeah. चार्ज नहीं है
Though, so are you able to see my screen again, right?
Yes.
So you can see the notepad, right?
Yes.
So this is what you will be sharing, something like this. So how you will be getting everything you are going to have in the REST API Explorer. So if you see the method post, it could be post, get, put, patch, or delete, depending upon what you are going to use. Then endpoint, something like this, what we use. We got it through the REST API Explorer one season. Then content type, as we are discussing, if it's going to be JSON, then it would be application/JSON. If it is XML, then application/XML. Then here is something which you need to kind of share as a request body or content. What exactly you want them to send. So like this again we generate through REST API Explorer. If you remember, when we select the field, then it generate the JSON automatically. You can copy it from there and share with them. Now these values.
This is JSON.
Yeah, this is JSON.
Okay.
Okay. Now these values, they will be replacing in the real time.
Yes.
This is their responsibility. And then last thing is the authentication detail. Now all these information we are going to use in Postman. Like we want Postman to act as third party tool, and we will see if the incident is getting created in ServiceNow or not. Okay.
So we will share this information on email body itself or any specific place.
It depends like what process you are going to follow.
But on email or notepad, anything, it's fine, right? They will just copy
And
paste this content.
yeah, anywhere you can use, like it's depending upon what is your kind of method of sharing the detail between teams.
What about authentication details? Do I need to share the credentials, password, user ID?
Yes,
Which user ID password?
you have to create a new user for that purpose.
Okay, in our instance, new
Yes,
user
yes.
record. Okay.
You cannot share your personal, because once your
Yeah.
account is deactivated, it should not be dependent on your account. So there should be a specific user account which will be kind of used for that particular integration.
So kind of integration robot or something. User
Yeah, you
record,
can
right?
say. Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Okay.
So now I will switch to Postman. So here we have Postman. Now it's asking for URL, enter request URL. That is going to be the endpoint.
Endpoint.
So as we put it in our document, so this is something where once you will share the document, in their tool, maybe not SAM UI, they will be having something like that. So they will select the method, as you said, Postman, and then their tool will ask, okay, what is the endpoint or URL? Then similarly, you will put here.
Hmm.
Now, authentication details. So it depends, like if you are going to use basic auth or there are multiple other types. So ServiceNow support basic auth and OAuth both. You can use those. So right now I'm going to use basic auth, like you have to provide user ID and password. Okay.
Okay.
Then header. So if you remember, we need to define which content type basically you are going to send. So it doesn't come by default, it is in. So here you will have to type, like in their tool they will have to put it somewhere in their tool, like it will depend upon the tool how that configured in their tool. And Postman, you can here define like
So
application.
that is something we don't need to be bothered about, right? They
No.
they should know how to do that.
Yeah, but Postman you should know, because you need to test your API. Because
Okay.
if something is failing, then they will say, no, this is failing. Like, but maybe you are sure, like, no, my thing is correct and all. Then what you can do, like, you have to try it. You have to test your API so that you can prove it. Okay, it is failing now. Where I need to look. There are many scenarios when the problem is with the third party tool, but they say like it's failing from your side or something. In those cases, you can kind of one way is try through REST API Explorer, but that might be because within the service now you're testing, so it's working. So you want to take the real kind of third party tool experience. So you may try to use the Postman. So that Postman is now going to act as third party tool. So that if that is failing in case of third party tool, then it should fail from Postman as well. Okay.
So is it like fine to share the details with Postman? I mean, no compliance issue or something?
Generally, we don't have that kind of thing. Like again, it depends on your organization. If you can use, if you can't, then obviously you have to coordinate with third-party tool. But mostly we
Right.
try to use it. Like
So this is a general practice, right? People do check it at
yeah,
Postman.
mostly like REST, this Postman and SOAP UI is the one for SOAP. People used to use like to test the APIs.
Okay.
Because this how you will identify whether sometimes you feel your API is correct and it is working perfectly through the ServiceNow REST API Explorer, but third party team is saying no, it is not working. Then there might be chances that problem is with their tool and their configuration. So in those scenario, you need another tool which you can test. So if it is failing from Postman, then okay, you can identify, okay, now means there is some problem in my API because both tool are getting failed. Now, but if it is working from Postman and it is failing from there, then you might come to a conclusion there is something missing from the third party tool side. Nothing missing or wrong with our API. Okay.
Okay.
So here we define the content type, then coming to body.
Mm-hmm.
So if what body I will put, I will do, basically they need to copy this body, what you shared, and they need to configure in their tool. These values they will kind of put dynamically, get inserted into the JSON. But right now we are going to use this one. Now, once this is done, now what you need to do, you need to send it. Okay. Once you will send, see, you are getting the successful response. That means your API is working perfectly from third party tool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I here even they will get the incident number in as well in the response. Now, if I go to ServiceNow,
So we should have this incident number created right there,
yes.
is it?
So if I search this,
And
yes.
this number is automatically generated at Postman side.
No, this is generated by ServiceNow, and ServiceNow has sent the response. Okay, we accepted your request, and now this is your kind of what we say. This is your number for the same.
But in this use case, what you are explaining, is it something like another third party which is acting as a postman as in this scenario, right? Third party. So Postman is creating an incident in our ServiceNow instance, right?
Yes.
Or it is vice versa.
No, Postman is sending the request and ServiceNow is creating the ticket.
Right. I mean but in the real time scenario, the same incident would have been created at third party, which is now being integrated and created here itself as well.
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah. So Postman is not generating an incident number.
But third party tool will have an incident number specific, which will be created as a part of integration in ServiceNow, right?
But ServiceNow will generate separate number. Your ServiceNow.
So there are two different numbers.
Yes, there would be.
But then what is the purpose of integration? It should have the same number, right?
Why? So
then how will they understand that this is an integration related incident?
So you may need to put some field where, like, see, once they send the request, okay, let's say Postman has sent the request. In response, this ServiceNow instance has sent a response with the saying, okay, I have accepted your request, and in my tool, this is the incident number which was created for your request. Now, if you want to refer, you can have a field on your incident form in which you can save this number, so that you can say, okay, what is the incident number in third party tool or another tool for this incident in my system.
You mean reference ticket number?
Obviously, that's what you will have to put. Okay. Because see, it's not feasible to have the same number, because the another tool is having different numbering system. Okay.
Number convention, yeah.
Yeah. So like they are going to have, like, their number counter is currently on maybe 5,000 and your number counter is on 10,000. How can be the same? If you will even try to put the same number, then in your kind of system, incident numbers are going to be duplicate. Like if you are on 10,000 and they are still on 5,000 counter. Now, if they will send a number of incident number of 5,000, in your system, there is already a 5,000 number incident, right? Then there will be a duplicate incident. So the numbers cannot be same. Both the tools,
generally,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, generally the use case is in the real life scenario. For example, we have an integration with, suppose, some infrastructure vendor, okay, and we have a ticket which will be resolved by them, right? So instead of sending an email, we have integrated the two ticketing system, even if they have any other service now, and we will anytime we face some issue with infrastructure, we will create a ticket for them.
Yes.
Right, directly from our instance.
Yes.
and so that they will work on it, they will be notified and they will fix the issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But incident number is not going to send. If there is a requirement, both the tool can save the kind of external reference number in the incident form. Maybe they
But
can
other
create.
information will remain same, the description and the other
Obviously,
things.
yes. Then
Okay.
then there won't be any meaning, right? So if the description is not sent, then what is the meaning? Description is something it is going to tell the issue, right?
Right, right. So
Now,
ticket will be created at both the ends, right?
yes,
But with
ticket will be
different
created.
incident number.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And here it may be assigned to different team, and there it may be assigned to different team.
Right.
Right. Now, if you see, right now we passed the number here. If you see, if we go to the postman, let me share it. So if we see, right now we have passed the name of the, like, this person. Now, didn't you see a problem in that? If I am passing the name of the caller, is there any problem you can foresee that can happen?
I mean, privacy issue or something. I don't know.
No. Okay. Let me do one thing. Can't be able tutor 2 in your instance.
Right, right. Better to have a unique reference.
Right. So what could be
Yes.
the unique reference?
SysID.
Is another going to have to have the SysID of your user?
No, 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 not necessary.
Right. So then what other thing can be?
User ID.
Yeah, user ID, it could be maybe email address.
Yes. Email address, yes.
So that means this should not be the name. When we send it to, when we send the name, the caller has been populated properly with the name, right? But in the real-time scenario, or to avoid kind of future issues, it should not be the name. It should be either an email address of the user or something other else like unique ID. Now, let's say we are taking unique ID as kind of this email address of the user. Okay. Now, if I see the previous incident, you see here when we pass the name, if you see the caller was successfully updated here, right? We send the caller, we send the category, software, all those things were populated properly in your ticket. Okay. Now, as this is going to have the problem, that's what we observed, because there could be two able tutors. So which one system will populate? System will pick any one random, and that might be wrong.
Okay.
So to avoid that situation, what we are going to do, we are going to pass email address of the user, because email address, even there are two able tutor, the kind of email address is going to different for each of them, right?
Yes.
Now I will again send the request, so it will create a new incident. Okay, so it has sent, and here new number is generated, new incident is created. Now what I will do, I will search that number. Okay. That means now it should kind of populate through email address. So that means
Yes.
now it's correct. So these kind of things you need to consider while doing an integration.
Yes.
Okay. Because if we will not put these kind of where there is a use cases where the value can be duplicate, then you will end up kind of creating or populating the wrong value in the fields.
Yes.
Now this is fine, it is working perfectly fine, right? Without any coding, we was able to share a API which third-party tool can use and create the incident in our system. But why sometimes we are not allowed, or we are not able to use this stable API where we need not to write any code when we are going to act as a publisher or inbound. Because first reason, kind of security concern you may take, because you are directly exposing your incident table, which is basically a kind of having your all kind of incident data, and it's by accidentally or anyhow, if other tool, third party tool, run a kind of wrong thing and they deleted some of your record, then this will be a huge loss or kind of issue for you, right? So
Yeah.
people try to avoid exposing direct web services, although they are kind of easy and like quick to integrate. First reason is that. Second reason is, okay, let me do one thing. I will say priority as well. I am going to send now. Okay. Second reason, when we are not able to use this, what I will do, I will put one more thing in my, let's say we need to send the priority as well when we are going to create the ticket in third party system. So I will say I will send it as, let's say, bar. Okay. Now again, I will send the request. A new number is generated, it is called INC13. And now if you go to ServiceNow instance, and if you search for this number, see, everything is fine. Every tutor is populated, this is populated, assignment group is populated, comments are populated, but do you see priority changing?
Yeah.
Is priority changed?
No,
right? Because in ServiceNow, priority kind of is dependent on this impact and urgency.
Yeah.
But that third party tool is just going to send this 1, 2, 5, 3. So now basically what you need to do, you need to interfere this data in between and convert it in kind of language which ServiceNow understand. Right? You need to write something in between so that when they are sending kind of priority as 1, you get that. And if you say like, if they are sending like priority as 1, set the impact as 1 and urgency as 1. Basically, you are not going to set priority directly in ServiceNow. You need to set the impact and urgency, but they are not going to send impact and urgency. They are saying we will just sending a one value that is called priority. But in your instance, if you need to kind of set the impact and urgency, then only you can set priority 1, or you are going to follow your incident process, then you need to manage it at your end. But we will be able to send like only priority from our side. Now, how you are going to manage setting 3 fields, that is your responsibility. So in direct web services, we don't have anything which kind of through which we can interfere between what is sent by third party tool, and we pick the data, that data in between, and we modify and then set it to our target incident. So that where we used to kind of limit it in terms of direct web services. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically we cannot modify data what is sent by third party tool, where we need to modify and convert it in terms of what ServiceNow requires. When we can kind of map one-to-one data, then it is fine. So these are 2 reasons you will be kind of finding for not using these direct web services. So to overcome this, now as we need to interfere between that kind of interfere the data which is sent by third party tool, so we need some places in between where we can read the data and convert in ServiceNow format. We switch to import set web services. Okay, we ask, we share the API of import set table to third-party tool, and they put the data, all the incident records in our import set table, and from import set table we can use transform scripts, we can use transform map to map the correct data to our incident table. Now what it saved one thing is your security. So your direct target table is not exposed. So even accidentally or somehow a third party tool run a wrong kind of request and the wrong request, or let's say they are bombarded with some unwanted incident, then in your incident table also there is going to, so maybe you have some controlling mechanism in between. First thing.
Okay.
Second thing, as you need to, when they are going to send priority as one, you need to set the value of impact and urgency as one. That thing you can achieve through transform script. Okay, so now from here we will switch to import set web services. Okay,
Okay.
do you have any doubt in direct web services, why we can use, why we cannot use? Any question if it is?
So in which scenarios, I mean, generally how we identify that which one will be useful?
I think when you have one-to-one mapping, like if, let's say if your use case wasn't extended, we just need to map caller. Okay, we just need to map category, assignment group, sort description, and kind of work notes. We can do
Same
one-to-one
field, what we have it in our table, or the same field they have it in their table?
Not table, field mostly not going to be the same. Main thing
Okay.
is they are able to send the data which you can accept. So here,
Okay.
if we say like send the caller as a kind of email address of caller, our service now can understand it can set. But when we extended the use case, when like they are sending the priority, but in service now we need to set the impact and urgency.
Okay.
Okay, that means they are not sending these values. You cannot do one-to-one mapping. Like they are having a JSON key in kind of their request, which we can map to impact, and there is a JSON key which we can map to urgency. We have a JSON key called priority, but through that we cannot set impact and urgency. So basically, we need to kind of modify that data based on priority, and then we need to set 3 fields. Getting my point? So like in previous things like caller, when they were saying like caller ID in JSON key, we were setting caller. For category, we were setting category. For description set. Then sort description, assignment group, assignment. But here, when they are saying set priority as 1, we need to set 3 fields. Can we map 1 field to 3? No. We need some scripting where we can, based on 1 field, we can update 3 fields.
Okay.
So that script we can write in transform scripts or transform map scripts. That's why when we extend this priority setting case, it is limited kind of thing. We cannot use direct web services. We have to switch to import set web service because we need to interfere the data on the data which is sent by third party tool. Okay.